Rev up your engines! All right, today we got an interesting car. It's a 2009 Fit, original owner. They don't sell them anymore in the United States. Why? What went wrong? They still sell them in the rest of the world. They sold millions and millions of these things, except in the rest of the world, they don't call it a Honda Fit. They call it a Honda Jazz. Ooh, you gotta be jazzy there. American Jazz, Japanese car. Who knows what they were thinking? Now, in 2020, they stopped selling them in the United States. Why? Were they terrible engines? No. Terrible transmissions? No. They had one big flaw. They weren't big enough for Americans. They want everything supersized. Because take the Honda Fit, well, it's even smaller than the Toyota Matrix, and Toyota got rid of them for the same reason. They're just not big enough. Well, for most people, especially if you don't have 800 kids, they're plenty big enough. The main reason is, as I said many times, car manufacturers are not in the business of making cars. Might sound crazy, but think about it. They're in the business of making money. Take the Matrixes. They're all made in Cambridge, Ontario. What do they make now there? Lexuses. Guess how much more money they make selling the Lexuses, right? It's a money thing. There's nothing wrong with these vehicles. We look under the hood with a barking dog. They hear a noise, they bark. We got a Honda 4-cylinder iVTEC 1.5 liter engine that's plenty big enough for this little car. This is an 09, so it's presently 15 years old. Doesn't burn oil. It also has a real automatic transmission, not a CVT. That might be worrying a little. We're gonna check that out with the computer as time goes on, but it still goes pretty good. Gets like 35 miles a gallon on the highway. The paint's still pretty good, especially this, but that's because it got wrecked last year. And you can see the new shiny headlight. And then we go to the original one. Isn't so shiny anymore. He's gonna get polishing, can't polish it up. The paint's still good on this side. Maybe a small car, but it's a 4-door, and he's got seat covers on. The seats wear, of course. Now there's a giveaway here. There's change, so we know he's an old man like me. There it goes. Typical Honda starts right up, and it's got actual parking brake, unlike the new electronic ones. I like that. And as you can see, it just passed 100,000 miles. 100,132. Added the Android and the dash cam. There's the dash cam. And you can see the tire pressure monitoring system has the light on. Well, something's 15 years old. I'm sure the batteries are dead and the senders on the tires. Who cares? Get a tire gauge. They cost 10 bucks. On the fashion, everything works. The AC's blowing freezing cold. The defrost works. And I like this. Look. Manual recirc fresh. Don't have to worry about a motor braking. You use your finger and it lasts forever. 15 years old, 100,000 miles, doesn't burn oil. Still, hey, it's been a really good vehicle. Like I say, these things don't really have problems. The problem is it wasn't big enough. But really, look around. It's a pretty optimal use of space. There's enough room in the back seats. There's plenty of headroom here. Look. It's a long way from the top of my head. I'm an average sized guy. That's front wheel drive. That's perfectly fine. You really don't need all wheel drive. Small car front wheel drive. Snow tires in the winter are fine. The LI wheels are still in really good shape. And anyways, why would he need snow tires? He lives in Florida. Yeah, what y'all tell? Oh, it's recording me. Isn't that nice? So's the camera. Let's do diagnostics here. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. Read the VIN. That was fast. Slower than normal because it's an old car, but it'll read it. Old cars just have slower processors. But it can still do a topology scan. So here we go. And while it's doing it, we'll look around. Look. They even make the plastic better than they used to. Look, there's no cracks in it, even though it's 15 years old. I'm sure the armrest has a little wear, but I mean, really. Got a really nice setup. Speedometer in front of you, tachometer over there, gauge and warning lights. Hey, it's a nicely set up car. Nice little steering wheel. You put his little cover on it. As we see, it only has 3 DTCs, but they are all the tire pressure monitoring system. So just for giggles, we'll see what it says. Low air pressure, signal failure, signal failure. Exactly what I predicted, as I said over and over again. The tire pressure monitoring system, each tire has a tire stem. That's the valve stem that the air goes in. Inside there's a battery, sends information to the computer to tell you if your tires are low. Guess what? After so many years, the batteries go dead. Are they replaceable batteries? Of course not. So you have to take all tires apart, replace them all. Costs a whole bunch of money. Tire pressure gauge costs nothing, so we don't care. So start her up. And we'll go back to live data. We'll go to the PCM. Here comes the live data as usual. Black is good, red is bad. Everything looks good so far. The sensors look good. Okay, now here's the air fuel lambda. 1.00 is perfect. There's perfect now. Oh, now it's off by 1/100th. Yes, Hondas do last that long and run that good. If you saw the video that I made recently, the guy brought a Honda Civic that had 368,000 miles on it, and it was pretty much the same as this, and that's 268,000 more miles than this. So they could go a long way. We'll keep looking, see if anything else is weird. No, not really. Alternate current, 14.5 volts, that's fine. Even gives you the fuel injector millisecond firing. It even tells you the fuel cap is closed. If it's leaking and it show open, you know, you'd have to either change it or buy another one if you forgot and left it at the last gas station. The misfire is zeros across the board. 0, 0, 0. Even the B misfires, they're all 0 too. Typical for Honda. I mean, 100,000 miles on one of these, it's like, maybe it's not even broken in yet. We'll take it for a little spin. As you can see, he's added the backup camera. They didn't come with them back then, and it's working perfectly fine. Nice smooth idle too, not shaking or anything. Look at those shifts. Smooth as can be, even though it's a tiny little car. Now, these things always did handle quite well, because they're kind of a small, short wheelbase, and they are Hondas. Now, another reason they were never big in the United States, aside from being small, is that they do tend to ride a little rough. Just like my Toyota Matrix, it rides relatively roughly over bumps because it is a very short wheel vehicle, and it's made for zipping around, not for, you know, cross country, really smooth rides. These are pretty much made for cities originally, but you can take them wherever you want. It's just that they're not going to be all that comfortable going over bumps. And Americans, they want to be riding on a couch when they're on the road, so it's probably another reason I don't sell them here anymore. That's a typical Honda with a little engine. You're going to rev the engine a little when you take off. And of course, the brakes work perfectly fine. Honda knows how to make brakes. Nobody's coming, so here we go. And they are fun to drive in the twisties. Being relatively low to the ground in a small car, you can really zip around on these things. We will come to a stop, and it won't be like that race car that just went by, but it'll move. Here we go. They make a lot of noise, yeah, but it shifts fine, runs perfectly fine, got plenty enough to get you around in. Not a race car, but hey, it's not a dog either. Look, we're doing 40, you step on it to pass people on the highway, it picks up, not a race car, but you can pass people easy enough. For a small car, it's not too noisy. Now, the newer cars are bigger and a lot quieter inside, there's no arguing that, but it's not bad. Being passed by everyone. I'm actually going 5 miles over the speed limit. I'll show you how people drive on this road. So now we'll turn around here. They turn around real easy. They got a nice small turning circle. I'll give them that. They're easy to park. It does have a little wind noise, but that's because he put that crazy mirror on top of the mirror. They were not built that way, but he's an old guy, and old guys like having lots of mirrors. You see over there's one on the other side too. I can hear a little whistling, but hey. All in all, it's just kind of a fun little car for driving around in. Not big enough for most Americans, but it's certainly big enough for me. What do I think of this thing? Well, Americans want big, giant things. This wasn't big enough. But if you're looking for a vehicle like this, the Honda quality in these things is so much better than Kia, Hyundai, Nissan that make some pretty crappy little cars. These are solid built little cars. There's no arguing that. This one's standing the test of time. Hey, of course, it lived in Florida, so you don't get the rust that you get on the East Coast, or the undercarriage would be all rotten away. You can find a car like this, my advice is scoop it up. With 100,000 miles, and the Civic that I did a few weeks ago had 360, and it was still running about as good as this. That tells you they can last a long time. They don't burn oil. Now, this is an older one. It's got actual automatic transmission. Doesn't have GDI fuel injection. Doesn't have a turbocharger. And you know what that means? That means it's going to last a lot longer. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Fishing and Car Enthusiast 12 says, my mom's 2023 Genesis won't go past 40 miles an hour. It's got 15,000 miles. It's a 2.5 turbo. She says it won't go past 40. Not sure where to start with diagnosing. Well, if I were you, I wouldn't diagnose anything. I'd take it right back to the Genesis deal and let them fix it. It certainly is under warranty. It's only got 15,000 miles on it, and it's 1 year old. Take it back to them. Now, if you had an old car that was worn out, when they won't go past a certain speed like that, 40, and then stop, you change the fuel filter and you pressure test the fuel pump. If the fuel pump is weak, you replace it. Now, you change the fuel filter first, because a clogged filter will do the same thing. So you might have, the pump could be fine, and it's just the filter. First change the filter, pressure test the pump. And if it's not that, the other most common common thing that happens all the time is the catalytic converter gets clogged up, and it'll only go up to 40 miles an hour, not any faster, because since it's clogged, the exhaust gas can't come out fast enough, and it can't breathe, so it'll go 40, and that's it. But I mean, one, there's no way that a car should have a clogged up cat at 15,000 miles. And if it did, doesn't matter. That's under warranty too, so take it to the dealer. They gotta fix that thing with that small amount of mileage on it. That's why I tell you people, don't buy Korean cars. They're not that well made. They got all kinds of problems. They look flashy, they look cool, but they just don't hold up over time. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.